Hi friends, we're having a take two today on a stormy Friday in Port Townsend. Stormy, but the sun is blasting through the window and I'm gonna go for the squinted eye look because it just feels so good to have the light in my eyes. Today I wanted to share with you some of the simple Ayurvedic self-care practices I use, especially this time of year when I'm indoors more, when I'm indoors more with lots of people, when there's forced air heat, when there are more colds and flus going around. These are the daily things that I do to keep my head, ears, nose, throat clear so that I don't come down with the latest cold or flu. And some of these might be old standards for you, and some of these might be new or things you want to bring back into your daily practice. So starting first thing in the morning when I get out of bed and go to the bathroom and pee, and then I pull my hair back and I rinse my eyes 7 times with cool water. And that is just a way of clearing out any debris and moisturizing the eyes a little bit. As soon as I'm done with that, I pull out my tongue scraper. You can use a metal tongue scraper. You can also use a tablespoon for this. Stick your tongue out, stick the tongue scraper back, and scrape from back to front, rinsing the scraper each time. You want to do 7 scrapes total each time you'll rinse the scraper. It could cause a little bit of a gag reflex, which will just bring up any extra mucus that might be hanging out in the very back of your throat, and that's always good to get out. Okay, after the tongue scraping, which is removing bacteria and other residue on the tongue, I take a mouthful of kind of lukewarm water and I hold it in my mouth for a few moments like this. And then I swish that water around like this. And then I tilt my head back and I gargle 2 or 3 times and rinse my mouth a little bit more. And so that whole thing might take a minute or a minute and a half. Finally, after 3 gargles or so, I'll spit the whole thing out. And that often again, will bring up a little bit of extra mucus that might be hanging out in the back of your throat. Did you know that gargling is effective in reducing the incidence of colds by like 30%? And it doesn't even matter what it is you gargle with. So do some gargling. Now, you can definitely do some oil pulling after that, using some sesame oil. Holding some in your mouth the same way I was showing holding the water and swishing it. You can do that for about a minute and then spit that out into the trash can. And that has more of a nourishing effect for your gums. So you want to do the water, swishing, and gargling first. And then if you like to do oil pulling, you can follow with oil pulling. Now here's a practice you may not have done before, and it's called tongue milking. This comes more from the yoga tradition, and you're going to stick your tongue out as far as you can, and with some kind of a dry cloth like a washcloth, you'll take hold of your tongue, pull it, twist it, and move it from side to side. And I'm just going to show you very briefly what that looks like. Okay, so you can take about a minute to pull, turn, and move your tongue, which is a long muscle. And this also is going to help to bring up and release, as you spit it out, any excess mucus or kapha that is stuck in the top of your throat. The final practice is to take a clean thumb and stick it back in your mouth, almost as far back as your uvula, to where your soft palate is. And just for about 30 seconds, you're going to push your clean thumb into your soft palate and just massage the soft palate a little bit. And that's going to relieve tension in the mouth. Again, you may expectorate a little bit more after that. Okay, and that's the work for the mouth. So working to keep our mouth clean, our microbiome healthy. The next thing is to put some hot water on the stove. And before the water's too hot, you can fill up a neti pot and use about a quarter teaspoon of non-iodized salt. And then you'll pour the neti through one nostril. Sometimes it will come out of your mouth as well as through the other nostril because ear, nose, and throat are all connected. That's fine. When you've done one nostril at the end, you'll plug that nostril and push out so that the rest of the water, any lingering water, will come out. Fill your pot up again and do the other side. Again, keep your mouth open. Sometimes the water likes to come out through your mouth. And when you're done. Now, I don't do the neti pot every single day. I certainly do it after parties, after traveling, and anytime I'm feeling excess mucus in my head. So I could do it every day for 3 or 4 days in a row. And then when my body is not producing quite as much mucus, I might take a day or two off. It can be a little bit drying. And the practice that goes along with using the neti pot is to use a little bit of oil. So I'm taking a couple of drops of a sinus oil. You could just use plain sesame oil. You put that on your clean little finger, insert your finger, and just lubricate your sinuses. And you can do that on both sides. You can also take a little bit of oil and do the same thing, lubricate your ear canals. And I'm turning about 7 times again to lubricate the ear canals. So that's protective for mucous membranes, so that will help to trap some of the residue that comes in, and it will also keep your mucous membranes moist. So highly recommending what's called pratimarsha, when we take just a little bit of oil on the little finger and lubricate the sinuses and the ears. There's deeper oiling practices we can do. We can take several drops of the nasal oil called nasya, and that's what I tend to do. I'll do the neti pot days when I have more congestion, and I'll do the nasya on days when I have less congestion but I'm feeling more dry. So those two together go really well. I recommend using super nasya. You can get that from the Ayurveda.com. That's the Ayurvedic Institute. Dr. Vasant Lad makes a lovely formula called super nasya. That's tridoshic, good for everybody. And the way to do nasya is you simply put your head back, add a couple of drops into each nostril, sniff up into your sinuses, and that's that. And in addition to keeping the sinuses moist, you'll also get some clearing of the head. And you'll also, there's often herbs cooked into the oil that are calming for the nervous system, so you'll also get a nice calming effect for your mind. So those are some simple daily practices to keep ear, nose, and throat area healthy. Of course, after that, you can brush your teeth and have a nice glass of warm or hot water with a little lemon in it to get your whole body going for the day to support healthy peristalsis and all of that. All right, here's to a really good feeling, healthy holiday season. Bye for now.